If you're new here, welcome, and to my regular fan base, welcome back. So, in this live video, and it's going to be a long one, we're going to expose the authorities and where it all started, where it all originated from, the inception, behind as to why they became involved over such petty, trivial things. It's amazing how these sick minds think and how they act. And I'm sharing this video to inspire and educate, influence other people pertaining towards how you can defend and protect yourself throughout egregious, disingenuous, and deplorable accusations. I want to do this to not only share what I've been through, but to help others who are going through the same thing. Because there's too many lives, far too many lives that have been destroyed through parental alienation. Without, nobody's considering the impacts that parental alienation has on the child. They don't give a fuck about the child. All they care about is money. But thanks to me being relentless in my sincere pursuits towards getting my son back with authenticity, purity, and truth, it can't be denied. You all have seen my posts lately. I've been sending this to my son's social worker. All the lies about me by Maria are being unravelled, and the local authorities alike. The social worker can't lie now because she's under court. So there's a thread. Pardon my phone there. There's a thread that she needs to be accountable for. So yes, at the end of the day, things are manifesting together nicely and well. And I tell you this, I am about to expose where it all started, and there's going to be a pattern. There's going to be a pattern of what you're about to watch right now, as well as many more insights to come. Many more. With all this said, I'm going to load up the video now. And yes, let's play this.
Hi. You alright? I'm fine, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Very good. You want to come in?
I'm Sejal, this is Joe.
Hi. Lovely to meet you.
Is it okay to come in?
Yeah, of course you can. Come through.
Okay.
Did you want to see? Did you want us to come in here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Come on in. The place isn't quite still up yet, as I mentioned.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, the place is quite dirty because it's a long story. I'm just getting the place still set up. So it's up to you if you want to take your shoes off or on. The floor's a bit dirty because of work done in the kitchen, because I had a bust roof, because I bought the house for the first time and I learned as a homeowner. The seller doesn't care, and long story short, I was told by my maintenance guy that there was no plaster supporting the roof. So in other words, in essence, I was sold a worn down house, so I'm getting that all fixed. But anyway, that's why the floor's dirty. If you look in the kitchen, you'll see for yourself. You'll be videoed, by the way, for my protection and my son's. That is fine, isn't it? That's fine. Yeah, no problem. No.
You want to see my one?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't really care.
My
But
shoes on then, if that's alright.
yeah, that's fine. Whatever you want. But the floor's dirty for your benefit. You can grab a chair there if you want. One of you can sit there. One of you can sit there. Okay?
Alright. Put my bag down.
It's warmer in here than it is on there.
Indeed. Oh yes.
When did you move in, Chris?
Why does that matter?
Can I move these things? Is that alright?
Oh, no problem. It's fine.
That you were still
Yeah, I moved in recently. Yeah, just sit there, mate. It's fine. Yeah, of course you can. No problem. So, what's your jurisdiction and what's the intent? What's the jurisdiction behind you guys
I spoke to
here?
you before Christmas, didn't I?
You did?
Just introduce myself to you. So I'm Sejal. I'm a student social worker.
Okay.
And I'm working in it's the Handroll team,
Mhm.
which is a team in Ealing Children's Services.
Okay.
And I explained to you that we're completing a child and family assessment.
Why was that? What led you to make that decision?
So we had a referral come in.
Mhm. From who?
From school.
From school?
Yeah, and
Okay.
it was because Maria had raised some concerns
Okay.
about an incident that had happened when you were there.
Okay.
And I think I spoke to you about this. I think you...
You're there, but I want to get us on video, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Indeed.
I think there was an incident when both of you had a verbal
We did.
disagreement.
Yes.
There was a chair thrown, she says.
That's
and
true.
Some items of food, so some tins and...
I didn't throw any tins. I remember slamming the fridge door shut and I threw a chair.
So I think she was worried, and I think she just wanted to make sure that there was support in place.
I don't really need any support, to be honest. I'm fine.
This is her point of view. So she's feeling like that support might be needed.
Okay.
And just that's why we're here to explain how we can support and to get an understanding of what your thoughts are.
Well, before I answer that question, so state for the camera, please. Do you know anything about my history or not? It's a yes or no question.
What do you mean, Chris?
About my history. So before you were involved in my life, is there anything about my past that you know about me from years beforehand?
So the information that we hold on our files, on our database, is related
Be
to...
careful how you answer, because you're on video. Got my solicitor's information, so just so you know. If you lie, then
Okay,
just letting
I'm
you know.
not lying. I'm just giving my perception of what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm
Okay, that's
wrong.
fine.
So we hold information about Austin. Also, we have you and Joanna as his parents linked to him.
Okay.
So the information that I have access to is the information linked to Austin. Yeah. Which obviously will relate to you and Joanna when he was a baby.
So what years since? How many years then have you known this knowledge about me? What information, in terms of information? How many years going back do you know about me? May I ask you?
So the information
I think it's my right to know, to be honest with you.
Is when Austin was born. That's the information that I have. So there might be some historical information that other social workers might have got from you through assessments.
And you don't know anything about me at all from 10 years before, 15 years before, or 20 years
It's not
before?
held in the system that I have.
No?
I don't know, Joe, whether...
There is
You are on video, so just make sure.
there is some information.
You don't lie, and they're bullshit.
No, there is some,
You get in trouble by solicitor, I tell you.
It's okay, there's some information.
That's why I'm protecting myself.
That's alright.
I know you guys think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
So there is some information.
I know you guys are.
There's nothing that I've seen that's linked to you on your file. I don't think from what I've seen you grew up in Ealing, or you may have, but there's nothing to say that you did. But there is police information relating to you.
Okay.
And there are...
From how many years? Sorry to interrupt you. From how many years?
I would imagine it's from 18. Whenever there is so if the police are called to an incident, then they will produce a report for Children's Services, and sometimes on that report they will pull up PNC records of people's police past.
So what made you dig up this information then? Did you want to get this information about me yourself?
So whenever we get sent a report from the police, if you read that report, there's two parts to it. And one of those is a police check. So everybody that's involved in that incident.
Okay.
So the one I saw, and I think it was sadly from when Joanna passed away, because the police were called to that. There is a brief summary of your criminal past.
Okay.
So I think there were a number of arrests and then convictions and a list of what those convictions were for.
And what other information do you know about me besides that? Is that it? Or is there anything else in terms of my ages, where I grew up, situations? Anything you know about that?
I'd imagine, although I can't remember it, your date of birth will be on there.
Okay.
Your current address. I don't think there's anything other than that on our system. Although...
I mean, like, do you know anything about my past living environment? Do you know anything about my situations when I was, a certain age? I wish you to answer that question, if you don't mind, respectfully.
All that I know is what I've just said in terms of your past.
Okay, so you don't know anything about nothing else, no?
No.
Correct? Yeah? No problem. That's fine. Just for video documentation. No worries. That's cool.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask us at this point?
No, I'm good for now. So I'll listen.
Okay.
I'll listen to your questions and.
So I've been to see Maria and Austin, and that's why we're here to see you to try and get an understanding of what your thoughts are on the current situation.
So what do you want to know exactly? What are you asking?
So I understand that Austin is living with Maria at the moment. That's the longer term. That's the plan at the moment. She's raised some worries about him coming to stay here.
Really?
Yeah, and she's happy for me to share that with you because she's concerned about Austin being looked after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you?
And I'm his dad. And I love that boy.
Yeah, and there's no one's downstairs.
And I'm going to bring him here, whether she likes it or not.
Okay. Is there anything that you think that she might be worried about? Or?
I have no idea. Why don't you educate me?
So what she
Indulge me.
What she shared with me is that she's seen some reactions from you towards Austin,
Okay.
which she is worried about. So sometimes when there's heightened voices or some reactions towards him, if he's upset or if he's...
Oh. Okay. Anything else? Or was that it?
She said that she did say this to me today, and she didn't want me to share it with you, that you went out for dinner yesterday. And there was an incident where you felt that Austin had interrupted you and that you put your hand over his...
Well, I do it in a joking way. I don't do it...
She was just worried about the kind of... she know that you did it for a few seconds.
Okay.
But I think she felt that it wasn't, in her view,
right.
The most appropriate way to do it.
Well, it's just a joking way. I do it in a loving way, where I just put my hand there for a few seconds lightly. Yeah. And it's from my high standpoint, it's just done in a joking way. Like, don't interrupt me. Like, it's done in a loving, laughing, joking way. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So I think she's also. I know there was an incident at Christmas where the police were called.
Okay, that's true. The police were called.
And she said that Austin was there when some of the verbal disagreements were going on then. But he was in bed when the police came round, from what I understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think she just wants you to get the support that you might need, any support that she might need, and any support that Austin might need. That's what this is what we're looking at.
Okay. What else did she say about me? Anything else?
I think she's worried about some of your reactions, and I think that's what she wanted me to. And she also,
could you be a little bit more specific?
If you're shouting at him or screaming.
Okay, what parents do not shout at their children nowadays? I mean, there's a lot that do. It's not just me in these times. Sometimes we get irritated. I mean, I just speak truth. I just speak facts. So I think a lot of parents shout at their kids. Does that make them necessarily a bad father?
No,
I don't think so.
That's not what we're saying. We're not saying that.
Well, I know, you guys think, believe me.
That's not what we're
Believe me, I know exactly how your minds think.
Our role is...
I know exactly how your minds think.
Our role is to, legally...
Take your little notes, jot everything down, make your own narratives.
Legally, our responsibility...
I know. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Legally, our responsibility and duty is to ensure that children don't suffer what the law says is significant harm.
Right.
So, and our role here is
Right.
to assess the concerns that...
So you're insinuating that I will present my child significant harm?
No. I'm saying that there are issues raised, and our role in assessing...
Assessing.
is to establish whether children are at risk or suffering significant harm.
Right.
So, for example, there are children that shouting is something that...
Oh, well, shouted, yeah. Oh, God, it's terrible.
Lots of parents...
Bad father.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying lots of parents... Lots of parents do shout.
Yeah.
And also, people's understanding and interpretation of things is different, right? So,
correct. That's true.
One person's looking at some shouting might say, "God, that's terrible," and someone else might say, "That's just how parents respond." like these are subjective things.
Subjective.
Yeah, and
Good words.
our role is to establish whether there is evidence if children are at risk of significant harm or not.
Okay.
So for example, putting one's hand over a child's mouth might be done in a jokey way, but if you were to hold it there for too long and that child can't
Absolutely.
breathe, for example.
Totally agreed.
We're here and we are assessing these worries that have come on to establish whether there's evidence for that Austin is at risk of significant.
Well, if you're so good at assessing, then you surely will be able to differentiate between holding your child's mouth in a supplication way and just jokingly putting your hand there very lightly in a joking, loving way, like, shut up, don't interrupt me, I'm talking. Surely you'll be able to, if you're a social expert, then assessing things very good and articulately, then surely you can differentiate between those two things, right?
I mean,
surely. Right?
We weren't there, so...
I see. I see where this is going. So now I'm a bad father because I've jokingly put my hand over my son's mouth. This is why I'm video recording, because I know how you guys think.
But that's not what,
I know how you guys think.
That's not what either of us has said, and either of us...
No, you don't have to. I can feel it. I can feel it. You're checking me out. You're assessing me. You want to get... I can feel it. I can feel your energy. I can feel it.
We are assessing you, as we've explained.
Right.
That is
Okay.
Our responsibility,
right,
is to assess when concerns come up for children.
Okay. Was there anything else significant then that I need to be aware of?
I think the only other thing that's come up is around alcohol use.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to?
Yeah, please elaborate.
So, I think the incident over Christmas, there was alcohol involved, from what I understand, and I think Maria felt alcohol made the situation worse.
Okay.
She's not really elaborated more than that at this point, but she
okay.
feels, she's not saying that she doesn't feel, she did say that she doesn't feel that you're dependent on alcohol, that's Maria's opinion, but sometimes it...
Oh, it's Maria's opinion, so it must be true.
I've only spoken to Maria, that's why I'm here to get your side.
Okay, then I see. Yeah, sure.
I understand there's always
right.
two different viewpoints.
There is.
But that's why we're here, to see, yeah? So
agreed.
I'm just taking her word.
Okay then, that's good then.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
So continue on, you were saying, sorry.
I was going to ask you a question. I was going to ask what are your thoughts about your alcohol use and whether that...
Oh, well, what was it on that said... What day was it? Use your life, man. Use your head. Use your noggin. What day was it? What date/day was it when said day was involved the police? Can you enlighten me?
I know it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, right?
I'm just explaining.
I mean, you're going to get a stupid answer if you're going to ask, seriously.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so you're just explaining, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that? Just...
My thoughts that it was Christmas Day and I had a drink and it wasn't only just me who had a drink. Maria had a drink as well. Yeah. Unlike Maria, I will hold myself accountable with transparency and accountability, always. But Maria, okay, that's what you guys do, okay. But unlike, the thing is, with Maria, she can never admit, ever, where she's in the wrong, she's got so much pride, blah, blah, blah. And the amount of stuff that, it's very easy for people to judge me from an outsider's perspective looking in, especially when you've got an elderly lady. I mean, who they thought he's going to believe, an elderly lady or me? I mean, come on. Of course, an elderly lady. So, that's why I'm being a bit of a sarcastic prick. But anyway, so, and of course a 4-year-old. Now, and blah, blah, blah. No one's going to take my word, so why am I even bothering? But, I will say I always hold myself, and it's on video, with accountability and transparency, I do. And, yes, it was Christmas Day. I had a bit of a drink. From my standpoint, the day was going really well until the end. Oh, I bet you guys can't wait to hear this juicy information, can you? Anyway, it was going very well. Going very well towards the end, being assessed, judge, whatever. But yeah, But anyway, and then, the problem happens, where by at the end, My bags were packed because I knew I had to go soon, so forth. And Maria, all of a sudden, because what that woman doesn't understand is that it's not sometimes what she says, that it's like the way that she says it, and it's the energy behind what she says. She doesn't realise how she comes across to other people. And she's she's one of those people who are incredibly self-righteous. It's my way or the highway. One of those people that think they know absolutely everything. In my view, it's only incredibly stupid people that think they know everything, because you can always learn every day, daily, and you can always gauge knowledge from like alternative viewpoints, should you humble yourself to do so, and then you can learn further that way, as an example. But Maria's one of those self-righteous people that she has to, it's just her way, and if you disagree with her on anything, there's problems. I don't know, but anyway, no, so she we were both drunk, and this is my story, and I'm sticking to this. We were both drunk, okay, and again, it's how she said it to me. So she said, "Chris, it's late, go, blah blah." And yes, was I drunk? Well, it was Christmas Day. Of course, I was drunk. I mean, use your heads. But anyway, yeah. But it's the way she said it to me. So we got into an argument about that because I just felt really disrespected. I put all my heart into that day for my son, made sure we had a lovely day, and it was a lovely day until towards the end. And it was just like, again, it's how she said it to me. So we had a massive argument about that, and then she took my son out of the flat, and and at this point, because it was late, to be fair. Now, here's the difference between her and I. Was it my fault that I didn't realise how late it was? Absolutely. But was it just my fault that I didn't realise how late it was? Hell no. Because there were two of us in that house, and I was drunk, but so was she. And she didn't realise what time it was either. Yes, I'm younger than her, maybe perhaps I should have been more aware. Can you see what I'm doing? Unlike her, I will hold myself accountable for my actions. She will never ever do that. Right? Just so you know, oh, I'm putting in your face, I'm sorry, I'm being aggressive. No, I'm just asserting myself, okay? Whatever. But all I'm trying to get across is I hold myself accountable, like I said, right? Yeah. So, blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, so she took my boy out, and like I say, it was late, and blah, blah, so forth. And it was roughly like 1:30, 1:45 in the morning. And, she had Austin out with her, where the lifts were in her place. So I looked at the time, and I was like, yeah, we need to get you back here. Come on, son, you're tired. And yes, I was drunk. I mean, I'm sorry, it was Christmas Day. But anyway, yes, people, man. But yeah, God. But anyway, so 1:30, 1:45, and I tried to take Austin from her. And I've never seen anything like this, and it scared me. It really scared me. The aggressive, possessed look in her eye when I tried to take my own child away from her because it was late and put him to bed. No, but anyway, so I just put him to bed, and then the police were called. I mean, because she's an elderly lady, so I mean, I'm a man, and I'm just wrong on everything, right? But anyway, I had to take my boy, because it was late in the morning. I was drunk Christmas Day, like she was. But anyway, But yeah, and then the police were called, and then obviously, what happened. I got a taxi home, and that's it.
Can I ask you a question about alcohol?
Go for it.
And I'm asking because it feels like the responsible thing to do, given that is. And do you have an issue with alcohol at all?
No.
As in, people drink on Christmas Day. Of course, people drink. It's it's a legal thing to do, and
okay.
It's fine. It's not our place to say to people whether they drink or not.
Okay.
But we do have a responsibility at times with families where there are where people's alcohol use has an impact on them as parents, for example. But you're saying that you don't have an issue with alcohol?
I don't know.
No.
Not anymore, I don't.
Okay.
What are you implying there?
I'm not implying anything.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'd ask now.
Okay.
I'd ask now, did you previously have an issue with alcohol?
What gives you the idea that I did have an issue with alcohol?
Because when you said, I don't now,
Right.
it made me think that potentially that means that you might have in the past.
Okay, that's a good point, but be honest, is there anything else besides that point? Other than that, what I just said. I agree with what you're saying. That would insinuate my side that I did have an issue. But be honest, because you are on video, is there anything else that leads you to ask that question?
I mean, I can answer that question.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to hear that. Yeah,
So
please.
like I said before, there's records on Austin, and as part of the assessment that have been completed by previous social workers,
Okay.
there was some information that you were working with RISE before.
That was what, sir?
Working with RISE, which is like a substance misuse.
Oh, I see. Yes, I was with Rice a few years back.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
normally when parents are referred there, they need some support with managing whether it's substance misuses or alcohol dependency. Yeah, so that's the information that we hold. So,
Is there anything else?
not that I can remember.
Not that you can remember. Oh,
at the
good
moment,
answer.
but
Cover yourself, right? Yeah, not that you can remember. Okay. All right, fair enough. We'll go with that. Yeah. Okay. Is it okay? Anything else?
I was just wondering about your relationship with Maria and how would you describe it now?
I mean, it's kind of touch and go, to be honest. I mean, what lends itself to you asking that question, may I ask you?
Just because it sounds like there's tension.
Well, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
If you use your head, you'll understand from the story, because you said yourself you were aware of what happened with Joanna.
Yeah, of course.
So if you use your head and your brain, and the fact that she's looking after my child, I mean, just use your life, use your head, mate. You know, work it out, connect the dots, and then you can see for yourself the answer.
I don't want to assume.
You can get the basic consensus behind it.
Like you said, though, I don't want to.
Use your heads.
I don't want to assume something when I can just ask you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you tell me your thoughts and feelings and opinions then, and then I'll give you an answer. How's that? Would you have any, or shall I just answer your question?
I don't mind sharing mine.
Yeah, please do. I'd love to hear that.
I would imagine that with what happened to Joanna, that's a huge thing to happen to a family, a really terrible, traumatic thing to happen to a family, and that, in my experience of working with people, that puts strains on relationships. I mean, my experience as a person as well is that relationships between partners, families, can also be difficult at times because they're not your direct family. So, and knowing what we know about the police being called and what Maria has said about what she's worried around, like Sergio said, I'd imagine things are difficult. Although, within that, you know, you have, like you said, tried really hard for your son to promote that relationship as well. Like you've clearly, if things are difficult,
I've done my fair share.
Yeah, you've gone for Christmas Day, like you said, you've tried to have a nice time. Like yesterday, you've gone out for a meal together. Like it doesn't sound completely as if it's like completely broken your relationship. Like something is working in there. And from what you're saying, you're putting in effort in order to promote it and make it work.
Yeah, I am. I absolutely am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has it been, or how long has it been a challenging relationship for?
I mean, it's ever since, I suppose, Joanna had passed away, it became difficult.
And because Austin went to live with Maria from then?
Why is that relevant?
I'm just trying to understand the timeline and how long he's been there for.
Yeah, it's been quite some time.
How did him living with Maria come about?
And why are you asking me that question?
Because I'm just trying to understand, I suppose what we are also trying to understand and trying to think for Austin is that you are the person with parental responsibility for him.
I absolutely
So
am.
legally, you are responsible for him.
Mhm.
And when Joanna sadly died,
Mhm.
it's then your responsibility. If he goes and lives with Maria,
Mhm.
that is legally your decision.
It is.
Like it's a private family arrangement, and legally it's your decision.
It is.
And of course, it would be your decision if you wanted him to come back here to live.
Absolutely agree.
So I suppose I'm wondering what it was that led to you making that decision about him going to live with Maria and not being with you.
And why would you like to know that information? What's the deeper, primitive meaning behind those words? What are you, digging for? Why are you asking me this?
I'm just trying to understand what the decision was.
And why are you asking? But tell me why. Why are you asking?
I'm wondering about your
what's the why?
Where were you at after Joanna had died? I'm wondering whether you were really struggling after that, or whether there was anything that was difficult for you at that time that meant that he went to live with Maria. Because ultimately, if he was going to come back to you, let's say, for example, I'm not saying this is the case because I don't know this, but I'm just using this as an example. If if the mother of your child, who I believe was pregnant at the time, dies, that could have a significant impact on the surviving partner.
You don't say.
And I could see that for some people that would have such a significant impact that they might not feel in the right place to look after or be in the right place to look after a child. I think would Austin have been
Are you insinuating that I was feeling that way? Is that what you're insinuating?
No, I'm just asking about.
It seems to me like you are.
No, I'm just curious about.
I can feel it.
I'm just curious about the
I see your reaction too.
The decision that was made at the time.
Okay.
If you don't want to answer that, I can ask more specific questions.
I just want to know what you're getting at. I want to know the deeper, primitive meaning behind those words.
I suppose fundamentally, my role is to, and the reason I ask it is because I want to know if there was anything that might impair your ability to look after Austin now. So if, for example, at that time, something significant happened to you, let's say, that might have an impact on how you parent now. That might be something that you have recovered from. It might be something that you haven't recovered from, for example. And if Austin is coming back to you, given that we have heard that there's some worries about the relationships in this family, I'd want to ask questions about that, because that would form part of our assessment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I think, you guys think you know it all, and you don't know shit. You just go by what you hear, and you don't really understand, at all. You guys think you do, and you make your juicy notes, and you forge your opinions, and you spin your own little narratives. That's what you guys do. I know all about you guys, more than you know, and I feel that you know a lot more about me than you're letting on. I feel it, I think you know a lot about me that you're not letting on. Yeah, but of course you got memory issues, so that's cool. Good recovery. But but yeah, I feel it. I feel you know a lot about me, and let's just say I know how you guys are. Believe you me.
I honestly don't.
I do.
I honestly don't. If I did, I would.
I know what you like.
If I did, I would tell you, and I would ask you about it.
Okay, if you say so.
Hopefully.
If you say so.
You've asked me some questions about my thinking and what I'm thinking, and I've tried to answer them.
You have?
As openly as possible.
You have?
I don't feel like I'm not showing my workings in terms of what I'm asking, and if I'm not, and you want to ask something, I'll try my hardest to tell you what my workings are. I don't always have them perfect, but I'll definitely...
None of us are perfect.
No, of course not.
No.
Like, I suppose I'm wondering now whether you have had experiences with social workers and children's services before that maybe haven't been the most positive.
I feel that that's irrelevant because I never mentioned that, you know, I myself have gone through any social services. I said I know a lot about how you guys are. That could insinuate that I've had a lot of friends who have gone through social services. That could insinuate that I could have had relatives that have gone through social services. You don't know. No. So I thought that that's irrelevant, respectfully.
I mean, it was just a question. Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just feel it's irrelevant. To be honest, respectfully, I feel it's irrelevant. You know.
Okay.
So okay.
That's fine.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I asked because often
you can always ask.
Yeah. Often
I can decline. So.
We work with families where people have had negative experiences with children's services, and sometimes it's important for us to talk about those.
Yeah, sure.
That's why I ask.
No,
sometimes
okay.
It is.
Okay.
Sometimes it's important to hear people's experiences before talking about anything else.
Okay. I mean, it's irrelevant information, dudes. You know. Okay. You know, it could be relatives, it could have been friends that I was alluding to, saying that I know a lot about how you guys think. So, next question.
Okay. How is Austin getting on?
He's getting on really well, thank you for asking. Yeah, he's doing well. I'm just going to get some cigarettes. Hang on.
Of course.
If you prefer, I can smoke outside. I don't know, would you prefer? Shall I smoke outside? If you don't smoke, it's not fair on you, is it?
If that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've got a little baby, so...
That's not a problem. I'm going to keep the video running.
All right.
So it's just for my safety and your safety. So then you can't say this and this, or say I did anything, or say anything, and vice versa, whatever. So the video's still running. You can have a little juicy chat as well.
Just going to fast forward here. Here we go.
I'm just respectfully showing you for documentation purposes. The video is 36 minutes in, if you can see that. This is for my solicitor's information. I'll show you too. Just there, okay? Okay.
So I've got a question. I know, well, it's more like a statement actually. I know that you moved to Surrey. You moved to Epsom?
I was living at Epsom at one time, correct.
Before you moved back to Ealing?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I understand that Austin was on a child protection plan when he was born, when he was a baby?
Forcibly, yeah. You know, he was, yeah.
Okay, and then when you moved to Epsom, the case was transferred to Epsom or to Surrey Social Services?
I believe so, yeah, that's true.
So, in order for me to gather information for the assessment that we spoke about, that we're completing,
okay.
Do I have your consent to ask for the information from Surrey so I can get an informed?
You can ask what you like, you know, but I know myself how good of a dad I am.
We're not here to say that you're not. We're not saying that you're not a good dad, Chris. I don't. We haven't said that. We're here to try and see how Austin can be. That Austin, when he's with you, that he's safe, or when he's with Maria, that he's safe.
Oh, so look at what you just said there.
Yeah.
Look at what you just said there. I'm actually going to zoom in to your face here, right? I'm going to zoom in to your face, right? Look at what you just said there, right? In the same sentence, you said you're not questioning if I'm a good dad or not.
No,
however, you're concerned about Austin's safety.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really match up, mate, to be honest, respectfully. So just think about that for a second. I mean, use your life, use your head, think.
I'm just going to go back to the Surrey. Do I have your consent to contact them?
See, you danced around the question there, see.
I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But
Okay,
do I have your consent to contact
Sure,
them?
I've got nothing to hide.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
That's very, very fine.
So from what I understand, from what I've said, I haven't said that you're a bad dad. We're here to try and see.
Yeah, you're concerned about Austin's safety.
Yeah, we are. I am, yeah.
And why are you concerned about Austin's safety?
Because Maria's raised some concerns, like I said earlier, about some of your reactions.
About jokingly putting my hand over my child's
She's raised
mouth.
other things as well, the shouting and the screaming. She said screaming.
I sometimes shout at him. Yes, what parent doesn't shout at their child, especially men?
We've spoken about that.
But if a woman does it, if a woman shouts at their child, that's okay. I'm gonna say something to you. I took him to soft play yesterday, right? And obviously we're all going through it, the cost of living and so forth. And you know, at soft play, because it is soft play, and because they know that parents have their kids with them, naturally they're going to bump the prices right up on basics like lollipops or water or popcorn or crisps or whatever. Everything's just so expensive in those places. Point and implication being, there was a child, and this child was just moaning to her mum, I want lollipop, lollipop, da, 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 da. Do you know what that mum said? And I heard her. She said, if you don't stop nagging me, I'm going to slap you. That's what she said. I heard her. So if a woman does it, that's fine. If a man shouts, oh God, that's terrible. So think about that as well. You know, I'm just saying facts. Yeah. Oh, I'm sexist. No, I'm not sexist. I'm saying how it is. You know, men can't do anything. You know, if a woman does it, you can get away with everything, mostly. You know, so yeah, do I shout at my boy? Yes, I do sometimes shout at him. But that's because of, you know, what happened with his mum. So there's obviously a lot of pressure, in addition to the cost of living, and, you know, a lot of deaths and so forth. And it creates tension. And this is why I, you know, sometimes do shout at him, and I admit that, you know. So yeah, I do shout at him sometimes. But I'm working on it, and I have been a lot more patient with him. Every time I'm there, I strive to be better and more patient. And I feel like I'm doing well overall, personally speaking.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, that is good to hear.
Okay.
I think back to what you raised with such a, I think there is a difference between we are concerned with children's safety and not whether we think parents are good or bad. Like, I don't know what a good or bad parent is. Like, for some kids to be shouted at would be the worst thing. Other kids, you know, it's families are different volumes, aren't they? There are some families where everybody shouts all the time. It's not about good or bad. It's about the impact that it has on children's outcomes, for example. So shouting, for some children it might be problematic, for others not.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, the throwing chairs that I heard, for example, like, to me that's a bigger safety issue, because like a chair could really.
I made sure that Austin and Maria was nowhere near that chair, just for the records. I threw it on the ground, so I didn't throw it at Maria nor Austin. I threw it just out of frustration. They were down there in the living room, and I threw it in the kitchen. I made sure that they weren't near the chair being thrown, just for the records.
Okay.
If you ask Maria, she'll tell you the same thing. I'm sure.
Okay. Was it more? Can you just explain that a bit more to me? Like, just in terms of like the situation around that, because I suppose there is a big difference between somebody throwing a chair like in this room while we're here and being angry and upset and throwing a chair in, I don't know what the next room is, the kitchen. kitchen, I'm assuming.
Sure.
In the kitchen there.
Yeah.
But I suppose it makes me think, it makes me worry about the tension that was in the home at that time.
Right.
And still for a 4-year-old to be around like a level of anger is scary and frightening potentially.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know.
Yeah, and not again, children are around frightening things, and it's not that that does happen. Our role is to assess whether that might be something that happens again, and if it were to, what impact might that have on Austin?
Well, it wouldn't happen again because I don't go to Maria's place anymore, at least not inside. I just go there to pick him up to school. I do the morning runs every day now, and I have my time with him on the weekends. Yeah. And every time I'm out with him, everything's dandy. Everything's fine. There's no incidences or anything like this. So,
Was not going into hers then, was that in response to the difficulties in your relationship and your way of of not exposing him to that?
Well, it was both of us really. We both agreed that due to the velocity of the damage being done, Austin losing his mum. Yeah. That it was best that I just don't go there anymore because there's a lot of pressure on both of us.
Did either of you or anyone access support around Joanna's death? Counselling or therapy?
No, I didn't really want to have counselling or anything like this. I just kind of dealt with things in my own way. At the time I was living in Surrey. And I had loads of nature around me, and I'll just be taking advantage of all the wonderful nature in Surrey, and go out for jogs or cycling, bike rides, lots of exercise, and I kind of healed in my own time, and I'm still healing, but for the most part I'm healed, and obviously this house is a brand new fresh start. And now I'm making significant changes from within myself to, with work and to get myself right with diet and feeling good, and so I can be as energized as possible for when I am out with my son.
What do you do for work?
Why is that relevant?
I'm just interested.
You're interested for a reason. Why is that relevant?
No other reason than you brought it up, and I just...
I don't feel that's relevant to what's being spoken of. So, Yeah.
Are you employed full time?
Again, I feel like this is irrelevant to the conversation at hand.
I suppose I'm trying to. In that, I'm thinking about in terms of your current situation with your property and the roof and costs and things. In terms of you are a parent, and we would ask about parents' employment and finances because it's a big part of raising a child, right? They're expensive.
No, of course. And all you need to know is that I'm doing fine.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. That is all I need to know.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I wondered about you said about the child protection plan in Surrey, and that it was forced. What was the reason for him being on a child protection plan?
Well, you'll have to do your own digging there to find out about my past, and then once you do have those answers, because you don't know already, right, about my history, as you say for the video, you have no idea, correct? You've already said that.
Yeah.
So you can do your own digging and then find out about my past, and then should you come back to me with any answers, then I'll answer that question. Until then, I'm not saying anything. Okay.
So what is the plan for Austin then? He's obviously been with Maria for a couple of years now. And what is your plan with his care?
As in living here?
Yeah, or not, or I don't. Yeah, what is the plan in terms of where he's going to live? Who's going to look after him? What have with significant people in his life?
Well, I plan on, taking him when he's ready. I feel that for three fundamental critical reasons why I haven't taken him when I was in Surrey, nor have I taken him yet whilst here. For three fundamental reasons I haven't done this. One is that he lost his mum when he was 2 years old. The second reason is he's only 4 right now. The third reason is he's lived with his nan, as you pointed out, for 2 years. So those three reasons merged together for a toddler of his age and what he's been through. I feel that I want to take him, but at the same time, and I tell Austin every time I, see him, the following, and I say to him that, you know what's happened with Mummy, don't you? She's of angels. And I say to him, look, you've been with Nan for a long time. And I always say to him, this is the decision that needs to come from you. So when you can tell me, Dad, I'm ready now. So I want him to be ready and not for it to feel forced, where I've just take him and then it's a new environment. It's such a young brain. Again, he's been through. I feel that it's better. It should be a decision that's come from him where he feels ready, because he knows I've got the house now. I showed him his bed. I showed him his Paw Patrol covers and all these things. So yeah, like I say, when he's ready, he'll make the decision. He'll tell me. I tell him every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is that's very Austin focused of you.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't need you to tell me that, but thank you.
It is.
Because I know what I'm doing, dudes. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that contradicts himself in the same sentence saying, this, and this, and then, all of a sudden safety issues, and it's like, okay. But yeah, alright. I know what I'm doing.
What do you think Austin wants at the moment?
As in, could you be a bit more specific?
Or what do you think he needs at the moment in terms of his experiences?
I feel that he needs a lot of love. He needs a lot of understanding. He needs a lot of development, continuous development. I've developed him so much already. This is what you won't hear or don't hear. But, I don't need to explain myself to you on how well I've done. I know how well I've done. So, you're just focused on the bad anyway, so it's fine. But I know how much I've done for that child. But anyway, I feel like he needs continuous development. Obviously, in winter time right now, it's cold. So you're limited to what you can do with a 4-year-old. But in the springtime, I plan on showing him outside of Ealing, like Richmond's, obviously the nature down there, the deer in Richmond's. I think he would love that. There's another massive soft play place in central London where it's going to be much bigger and a lot more relevant for him as he gets to 5 years old. I've got my eye on. I want to show him in the spring, summertime, if he's ready, perhaps museums like, the History Museum, dinosaurs, stuff like this. I just want to show him a bit more of the world apart from Ealing, just to get him out of Ealing and show him new things. That's what I want to do.
What does he like? What is his interests at the moment?
As in,
what is he interested in? What does he like to do?
Could you be more specific?
I don't know. Does he ride a bike?
He does.
Dinosaurs? Does he like?
He rides bike, yeah.
Does he like drawing, painting?
He loves drawing.
Making things.
He does love making things. He's got his blocks. He always plays with his blocks and makes buildings and houses with his blocks. He loves all that.
What else do kids like to do? Do you like a tablet or a?
Oh, he loves tablet.
A phone.
Oh, they love the internet, don't they?
Yeah. Going on, I don't know, YouTube, watching. Other people play computer games or make stuff with Play-Doh. That's what kids like.
Yeah, yes. Play-Doh, yeah, he does love Play-Doh. He loves his YouTube, to your point. Yeah.
And it is important for us to hear the positive things as well. because like we say,
Okay.
it is. We often only get sent. We don't get sent things when they're positive.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get sent referrals saying
Okay.
this dad's done this brilliant thing.
Exactly.
We get sent referrals when there's worries, like
Yep.
you say, about children's safety,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it is important for us to hear the other side of things, because
Okay.
obviously there are positives and strengths as well as any worries that are raised.
Yes.
So then, I suppose then, if you're waiting for Austin, I wondered if he were to say on Saturday that he wanted to come and live with you, like what would it look like if that happened?
Well, it'll be a no right now because, as you can see, there's no sofa in here. I was planning on doing that today, but then I had to see you guys, so I'm going to go sofa shopping tomorrow in DFS and get a sofa set up. I need to make his bed's delivered, but I need to make his beds. So the house, I'm hoping, should be ready in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So to answer your question, if he said that, then of course I'll take him, but he has to feel ready. I don't want him to not feel ready, or for him to feel like it's forced or rushed or anything like this, you know. So, yeah.
And is it something you've talked about with Maria?
I have touched on it. I've told I've told Maria, indirectly while speaking to Austin. So she's overheard me talking to Austin about this. We haven't talked about it per se or specifically, although she would have heard me indirectly speaking to Austin about it.
I suppose I wonder how you think that conversation might go, what it might look like.
I have no idea. I have no idea at all. What do you think? How do you think the conversation would go?
I'm going to imagine at the moment that Maria wouldn't want Austin to come and stay with you. Live with you, sorry.
Okay.
From what I've heard.
Right.
What do you think she's thinking?
At the end of the day, Austin's my son,
Yeah.
and the decisions and the powers in my hands. But at the same time, I want him to feel ready. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Do you think it would be helpful for there to be some intervention or work between you and Maria? Something like mediation between the two of you?
I feel that could be advantageous.
Would it be something you'd be interested in? We have a service in Ealing that we could...
It's a lot more to do with this Maria thing. Would she be of interest for it? Because I doubt she would be, to be honest. Because her ego and pride is just too much. You know, she can't admit where she's wrong at all or anything. I understand how much emotional pain she's in. Do I know what it's like to lose a child? Kind of. I lost my 8-month-old unborn second child. Second son died in the air. Yeah, died in the womb. But do I know what it's like to lose a living child? No, I don't. So I can kind of understand how much pain she's in. I can also understand, that she's living through Austin because that's reminds her of her daughter. So she's living vicariously through Austin. And I can also understand that she has nobody else to take things out on apart from me. So, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to elaborate further. All I'm going to say is I put up a lot of stuff from that woman with remarks and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to elaborate further there. But people just look at an elderly lady and say she's right and I'm a monster and I'm wrong all the time, blah, blah, blah. So, whatever. I know how good of a dad I am. Am I a perfect dad? No, I'm not. Do I pretend to be? No, I'm not. Do I make mistakes? Of course I do. But as you admit, you know that what's happened to his mum, and this in addition to the cost of living, and conflicts of interest between myself and Maria, different culture, all these things come into play. different age generation. Again, rightfully so, the focus is on an elderly lady and a 4-year-old. But what about me? How do I feel? Think about me for a second. I'm 35 and I'm dealing on one range of the age spectrum, a 4-year-old toddler and a 70-year-old elderly lady. So you can imagine the pressure that's on me. But anyway, no one cares about that. But you'll choose to ignore that, of course. But I suppose I'm kind of not excusing it, but perhaps attempting to somewhat justify my chair incident, as an example. But that's all I'll say on the matter, to be honest. So
things are difficult when there's loss and when people are in pain, right?
Oh, you'd know, would you? Do you know, have you experienced loss?
Not in the way that you have, but definitely in my life, I've experienced loss.
What loss have you experienced, may I ask? You don't have to answer, I'm just...
I mean, it's fine. Grandparents,
okay.
Relationships that have ended.
Mm-hmm.
I think those things are lost, and I've worked with lots of people who have experienced loss.
Yes.
In my work, so
you'll have an element of understanding.
Yeah.
And you'll know what it's like with grandparents, because you've lost them. Although, respectfully, with grandparents, because of their ages, their pain is much more numbed, I would say. I think it's the correct word in terminology, because they're elderly, isn't it? Grandparents are 70, 80, whatever. So you're kind of expecting it at some point. So you're kind of prepared. Does that make sense? So the pain is somewhat numbed. Not to say it's not still painful, because it is. What I'm putting out is far less painful than losing a healthy 35-year-old wife.
Yeah. I think it's
respectfully.
Of course. I think it is.
I think that's true.
I think it's harder. It's easier to comprehend it, isn't it?
Yes.
When it's somebody in my grandparents weren't particularly old,
okay.
But it is easier to comprehend when people are towards the latter stages of their life.
Doesn't make it easy, but it's easier.
Yeah.
Right.
I would imagine.
Not saying I'm in pain, because of course,
I don't.
You know,
the other
absolutely.
Side of it. I only know that.
Yes.
What was I saying? And I suppose what I was saying was that when people have lost, when you've lost someone, it's painful, and relationships are difficult, aren't they?
They are indeed.
Relationships are difficult. Relationships are difficult anyway.
Correct, especially in these times.
Yeah, but when
Better off being alone.
When you've lost, when there's a lot of people hurting as well.
Mm-hmm. People turn on each other rather than to each other, Yeah.
Did Maria seek any support for
I have no idea. You'd have to ask her that.
Okay. Do you know?
Not as far as I know she didn't, but I need to ask her directly.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Did Austin?
Again, she's Austin's carer. You'd have to ask her.
Not as far as I know. We did touched on it briefly, but I don't think he did.
Okay.
Because he's quite young. When he was 2.
Correct, he was 2.
Yeah,
That's true.
So,
yeah.
Would you?
And it would have been like, sorry to interrupt you, respectfully. And just to add to your point, because he was 2, obviously being a baby still, support wouldn't really have been effective, I guess is the right word, because he's a 2-year-old, isn't it?
I think that in the context
maybe that's the wrong word, but
Maria were talking about is maybe as he gets older.
Yeah.
If he, my understanding is that he doesn't know that mum has has died. Is that right? Or
well, I mean, we say she's with the angels.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Does he ask whether she's coming back? Does he think that she's coming back, or? So I'm just wondering what he's made of it, what he senses, or why his mum's not here.
You'll have to ask Maria that, because she's his carer.
Okay.
Would you like him to have some? Because I mean, he's in reception, right? So he's in his first year at school now.
Correct.
So he could access support. I don't know whether his school have play therapy or something that at this point might help him in an age-appropriate way make sense of like what's happened?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I do know that his school was going on a trip, not a trip, like a walk-in, because it's a very big school, you see. And so they've gone on like a walk-in event today at the school. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I know really. I don't know anything else. I don't think they offer specialist stuff like this, like you're implying. I don't know.
Most schools do.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, most schools do, and they.
I suppose next thing you're going to want to know is what's his school's name, and blah blah blah. I suppose that's the next thing you're going to want to know.
I think it's Gregory's, isn't it?
Oh, okay, so you do know.
Yeah, we do.
Right, I see. I see. Right, okay.
And I don't know whether that. I can't remember if I've worked with that school and they have therapists.
Well, you could always call them up then, can't you?
Yeah.
Find out for yourself.
Is that?
Good.
Would you be happy with us doing that though?
I don't know. I mean, if it's going to benefit Austin, then of course not. I feel that he needs, as he gets older and his brain develops, he's going to need as much support as possible with, yes, he's got his nan, but a nan can't replace a mother, just as a dad can't replace a mother. But at the same time, it's been very difficult for me to have to play mummy role as well as dad role with work and support. Not only, I can't stress this enough. On one range of the age spectrum, you've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I'm in the middle, man, with my age range demographic, respectfully. Okay, so there's been a lot of pressure on me. Not anyone cares, but anyway, she's an elderly lady, and she must be right in everything, and I'm a big mad monster, blah 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 blah. But I'm saying how I feel. Okay, whether you agree or whether you admit it or whatever, I don't care. I don't care. All I care about is doing what's right for my boy, and I don't need to prove myself to any of you. I know how good of a father I am. I'm not perfect, but in terms of his development, that's all me. How I've developed him, how bubbly he is. I don't know if have you met Austin? No. Well, if you ever do, well, if you ever do meet Austin, you'll see his personality, and that's all me. When he was a baby, I'd always take him to the playgrounds, and would help him with his coordination, climb the frames. His body coordination is fantastic now. I'd always focus on his coordination. He's so strong as well. He opens fire doors. He's very strong for his age. He's so confident. So I know what I do for that boy, and of course I want him to have future I suppose support in place for him. Not I don't need support, but for him, just to help him, with his mum, and so forth. So
maybe that's something.
The loss of his mum.
Yeah, maybe that's something we could speak.
Maybe.
School about then.
Maybe.
Also, it's. I'd imagine it can also be difficult to talk to your child about loss when you're also suffering with that loss, and that goes for Maria as well. And maybe that's not the case, but it's something that
I think she's struggling. That's my impression when I've spoken to her.
Yeah.
But I think she's trying to do what she feels is the best for Austin. I think she feels that your relationship is up and down.
Yeah.
The days that it's good, it's good.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and she can see how hard you're trying with Austin.
Oh really? She actually had a positive thing to say about me.
She's got lots of positive things to say.
Oh really? Oh, indulge me. I'd love to hear it, because I just hear negative from that woman. So indulge me.
I think she also is open
Please
to
indulge me.
any support that might be open for the family. So
Okay.
whether it's for Austin, whether it's for you, whether it's for both of you or 3 of you together,
Yeah.
whatever form it might take.
But please indulge me. I'm please indulge me. What possible? Because all I ever hear. All right, I'll level with you. All I hear about from her when I'm there. This is one of the reasons why I'll level with you in exchange for you telling me what positive information she shared. Fair?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
So I'll level with you. So every time I'm there, this is one of the problems in our relationship, okay, where there's never anything positive to say about me. It's all negative, it's all criticising. You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, and again, I don't believe you, but if you say you don't know my full story, I think that's a load of bullshit personally, but you say you don't. But if you did know my story, you would appreciate and realize how hard I've pushed, and how far I've come. You know, and I've had to for that boy. But yeah, there's never been anything positive to say, and that was essentially and critically one of the breakdowns in our relationship. I say relationship, I mean, it's a funny one because Maria, at least in sexual terms, is not my wife, but in other ways, in my mind, she is my wife, because in terms of finances, in terms of emotional supports, in terms of Austin, my link with him as his father, and her link with him as his grandmother. Does that make sense? So in that sense, she is my wife, not sexually, but in other areas, she's my wife, I feel. Now, of course, she's my mother-in-law, but does that make sense? The reason why, because you might be thinking, yeah, it's a bit weird that I say, and I'll agree with you on the surface, but if you scratch at the surface, scratch at that surface a little bit, and think that his mum's not here anymore, and therefore much more decisions have been made. Because ordinarily, if a man has a woman, right, the mother-in-law is just kind of more in the distance, that still loves and supports the child, but they still will spend quality time with their grandson or granddaughter. But my point, do you see where I'm going? But with this extreme circumstance, with him losing his mum to COVID, does that make sense? That's why I use the terminology that she's my wife.
Everyday decisions,
That's right.
Like who's picking him up from school and who's dropping him, you guys have managed to communicate.
Oh yeah, I mean, like,
positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And she was talking about that you take him out on weekends and
I do.
fun activities with him, which he loves doing, and that he speaks really positively when he comes home.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's very good.
And she wants, from my understanding, I think she wants to be able to communicate with you, which I think she can. She's not saying she can't.
Okay.
So the level of communication that you got at the moment seems to be working, because you were able to go out for dinner last night. Yeah, which she thought was a nice dinner. She didn't say anything apart from what she thought she didn't like. She didn't say anything else.
Okay.
Yeah. So to me, they're positive.
Can't people just do things in a loving, joking way?
Maybe she didn't see it like that. So that I'm guessing that that's not how she saw it. So
Okay.
yeah.
But like you said, she interprets what you do in a particular way, doesn't she? By how she understands you. So like, so
Okay.
I could see, and again, I don't know because I wasn't there, but I could understand how she might now view you, given what you've shared about how you think she views you in your relationship, and that if somebody is just focusing, like you say, on the negatives, then I can see how somebody might interpret that as something that's not positive.
Okay.
It's not to say that it is or it isn't, and I do get that you are sharing like a relationship with somebody that is usually a relationship that we like have chosen to be in, right?
Absolutely.
You haven't chosen to be in this kind of relationship with your mother-in-law.
No.
You chose to be in one with Joanna, but you've been forced almost into a relationship with your mother-in-law.
But yeah, it's been a forceful experience, you know. It crucially and essentially has, and you know, we both have had to adapt. Both me and my mother-in-law alike, we haven't had no choice but to adapt, you know.
She was talking about that you might be going on holiday together this year, she was saying to me.
Yes.
Yeah, she was quite positive, you know, about that as well, and how exciting that is for Austin.
Oh, that's refreshing. That's nice.
To have both of you there. So there's lots of things that she has
Okay.
said.
Well, that's nice to know. It's good to know it's not just one-dimensional. I'm not just paintbrushed as a monster or anything, or blackboard as a monster.
She did say that you were willing to consider parenting or some support with parenting.
I'm willing to consider it once I have had the chance to deal with Austin myself first.
Okay.
I feel that it's very unfair for people to judge me when I haven't even had a chance to look after my own son yet. I feel that I want to have him over when he's ready, as I said, and when he is ready to take things like incredibly slowly, as in, so I'll give you an example, and every day I say the same thing to him, as I've already mentioned and put forth. You know, when you're ready, it's a decision that has to come from you. You know, your mum is with the angels, you're only 4. I say the same thing to him. Your nana's looked after you for a while now. When you're ready, you tell Dada. So when he is ready, I'm not gonna bring him back here until he tells me. I'll keep reminding him, and I'll keep saying, "Would you like to come visit the house?" And right now he keeps saying, "When I'm ready, Dada, when I'm ready." So that tells me he's not ready, because he's still processing. Because think of it, how that child feels, man. He's lost his mum at 2. He's a baby. His brain can't process it. He's still in shock. Not consciously, subconsciously, because he's so young, but subconsciously, his brain's in massive shock. It is. And so he can't process this stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Me as a man, it's going to be such a astronomical change for Austin. And I feel that he can't. When I say to him, you know, when you're ready, we have the same conversation every single time, and he says, you know, he keeps saying, you know, ask me next time, or whatever. So when he's ready, he'll tell me when he's ready, and when he's ready to come visit, we'll do it in baby steps, and then he'll come visit, and then when he's come visited, I'll show him his room, and then you know, we can come a few times before I even remotely consider having him stay over. I'd like for him to just come and visit first, ideally in winter before spring, because in spring I want to be going out and showing him the world, and as I put forth in this video, you know, get him out of Ealing. Ealing's great for like restaurants, you know, if we're all being honest, apart from restaurants, there's not really much else to Ealing. There's green spaces, there's lots of parks, very nice parks, true, and restaurants. But if we're honest, what else? Yeah, you got Kids One, you've got Walpole Park, but anything that's kid-centric, after a while, in my mind, I'm already thinking of stuff. He's 4 now, and his birthday's in June, and he'll be 5, and in March it's spring. I'm already thinking of stuff. I'm way ahead of you people. You believe me, I'm way ahead of you two. I'm 10 steps ahead, you know, especially for a woman that says, you know, I'm not concerned with the safety of the others. But anyway, I'm 10 steps ahead of you people. But in the springtime, you know, I've already figured this out. I want to get away and show he's getting older now. He's getting more curious, his mind. So like I put it out, like I said, Richmond, Deer, museums in South Kensington. You know, West End scares the hell out of me, if I'm being honest. This is why I chose to live in Hanwell, where it's quiet. I just can't deal with the West End, if I'm honest. There's just too many people, and it's too fast, and I can barely handle myself when I've been to the West Ends in the past, with just like my anxiety, and because I've got anxiety as well, from personal trauma, from again, you can dig up your own. You know, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you've got all the power of social service. You can dig up anything you want about me, because I know you guys. I know you far better than you think. So I'm sure if you wanted to, unless of course you're lying, but if you're not lying and you're keen, you can always dig up my past, and then you'll know why I've got anxiety so much. But anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't take him to the West End, but I would take him to, like, you know, other places, South Kensington, you know, anything that's going to be like not only fun but educational as well, and so forth. So yeah,
It sounds really good.
well, I appreciate that, thank you.
And I think
What do you think?
I think that your idea of having a transition is a really good one as well. I think, yeah, look, what you were saying you were saying about like him losing his mum at 2, and that is a really young age, and then he's lived with Maria, and I suppose like I was then thinking what Maria means to him,
Okay,
and how you
fair point.
can plan for when he's going to come and live with you, that transition can be slow, so he doesn't feel like he loses Maria, because
Very important.
loss is going to be a
No,
thing in his life.
I absolutely agree with you.
And then how he keeps Maria in his life. She's a pivotal person for him.
I absolutely agree.
And
Absolutely
just
agree.
thinking about, and it made me come back to the idea around mediation for the two of you.
I would personally like mediation with Maria, that's her Polish pronunciation. But the question is, does Maria, you could ask her, I don't think she'll accept it because her ego and pride is too big. But you can ask, I would love that.
Yeah, I think we will, it sounds really important.
To me it is.
Yeah. And for us, I suppose, it sounds really important for you, importantly, but also for Austin, most importantly.
Absolutely.
Actually, the two really significant people in his life that you can manage any transition or change that happens in the best way for him. It doesn't sound like it's completely broken, your relationship. It sounds like there's a lot of pain there, and you are both holding on to it and trying and working really hard.
Yeah.
Which is great for Austin. It is, out of something so traumatic. It sounds like he is doing as well as he could do in this situation.
Correct.
And that is down to you and down to Maria and how you've handled.
We both worked, astronomically hard for that boy in our own respective ways.
Yeah, and we have to see the difficulties and challenges that exist and present in your relationship.
Of course you do.
We have to see them through the context of your loss, right? We have to see them through the lens of a family that have had.
Well, that's up to you guys, isn't it?
It is up to us, but that's how I think we should be looking at your situation. We should be looking at it through the family who have experienced a really tragic trauma, because I think we can see that some of that is what's playing out for your relationship, and probably leading to some.
I don't think it has to be a rocket scientist in order to figure that out, do you?
It's definitely things we have thought about before we came here, but again, we only heard one side of the story.
Correct.
And without asking you the questions about what this means for you, we would be making assumptions.
Okay.
And of course, we can't ask you everything. And there are some things we will naturally assume.
Well, you'll assume until the cows come home that's the way you people think. Like I said, it's okay.
So then, I suppose, in terms of the takeaways for us in terms of this meeting, is to talk to Maria about potential mediation and around.
I'm down for that. Okay. Is she? That's the question.
Yeah, we'll speak to her. Yeah, and around
Fair enough.
potential support for Austin.
Okay.
Whether that's something that could happen in school. I think it's worth.
It's so good.
I think it's worth inquiring about. It may be that they have a play therapist in school who says he's a bit too young at the moment. Let's put him on the list when he's 5 or 6. Or they might say this is the best age to work with children who have experienced bereavement.
Okay.
So that's something we can do if that's.
Okay. And in terms of support, other areas of support. Now, be honest. What do you? Because I feel I don't need any support. I feel furthermore that it's very unfair for you guys to play judge, jury, and executioner until I've even had the chance for my son to come here and stay over. Quite frankly speaking. So, but I want to hear it from you. Let's hear it from the elephant in the room right now. What support do you think I need? I'd love to know. I'd love to hear more about that.
What? Go on, do you want to say?
What I was going to say, because I'm still gathering information.
Information. Okay.
So it's the chance for you to tell me what support you you're saying that you don't need support,
Right.
but you're open to mediation. So that
In a way, that is support, but
is support, yeah.
but for me, it's to benefit the relationship between me and Maria, and ultimately, the main emotional pain behind me doing mediation is for Austin's sake, because I want us to get along, because there's only 3 of us left in this family.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it for my boy. I'm doing it for Maria too, but I'm doing it mainly for my son. So that's, in that sense, support, yes, but that's not necessarily me specifically. That's also Maria, and that's Austin. And because Maria is his carer, it kind of is it's a bit messy. So I think mediation is highly critical. But I'm talking about me alone, specifically forgetting Maria. So what support do you feel that I need?
I think it's a bit tricky for me to answer that right now, because
Information, right.
I've just met you,
Okay.
and this is the first chance that we've had a chance, well, properly to talk.
Okay.
It's been through text messages, hasn't it?
Correct.
Mostly?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I would like to do is to meet you again,
Right.
if you agree, because then I think that will help to kind of keep the momentum of, because we still need to,
Yeah.
there will be other areas that we will need to talk about.
What areas do you need to talk about?
Well, that's what I need to figure out after this. I need to just go back and check what I need to talk about with you.
Is it mandatory that I have to see you again?
No, of course not. We can't force you to.
Because I feel that it's very unfair for me to be judged and to be put in a perpetuous situation when I haven't even asked to stay over, and I haven't even, played the role of a single dad, as in full-time and looking after my son. That's going to take a while, and I feel that it's incredibly unfair to be judged, before that happens. I do.
I think. I mean, from my point of view, we're not judging you. It's about.
No, of course you're not.
So we're here to see.
Not judge me at all.
So we're here to.
Yeah. Sorry.
What was that about?
I'm just laughing.
I don't know what you.
I'm just laughing because you're not judging me at all, you say. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry, you were saying, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I lost my.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's my fault. I'm sorry. Apologies, of course.
Judging is
Yeah.
Judging's
You're not judging me at all, right?
It's a-
No, of course you're not.
it's a loaded term, isn't it? Because there are.
You're not judging me at all.
Of course, we are. Our job is to make decisions about children's safety, and when we do, we have to make judgments
Okay.
on parenting usually.
Okay.
So we are everything that we do is about making judgments about parents. That's
Good political answer.
That's what our job is.
Good political answer, I'll give you that.
But thanks. But judgment also.
I know my stuff, trust me.
Judgment also implies there's a different way to understand judgment, isn't there? That
There is.
you are making that you hold views about somebody based on the decisions that they make.
Sure.
Like there's an emotional way to understand it and a way to understand it. And
Okay.
of course we have to make judgments about things. We could make judgments about your parenting based on what we know.
Okay.
But it probably wouldn't be a fair judgment because, like
Okay.
you say, we don't know what kind of parent you would be. For example, like you said,
Okay.
I've come here and I've made a judgment that a child probably wouldn't. You would need like a new sofa and to clear some things out for a 4-year-old to be here. Like you said, that was a judgment I made when I first came here, and I would have asked you, and you said, of course, there's things you need to do before he comes.
Yeah, as I pointed out, I'm going to DFS. I was going to do it today and I'd see both of you, but I'm going to DFS tomorrow to pick out a sofa, a nice one, a corner sofa just there. And obviously, I plan on getting a skip for all the cardboards. A sofa should fill in here. If I put my shelf here, the sofa come through the door. Ideally, it'll be if it's a big corner sofa where it's already made, there's no chance So I suppose that's the other thing I've got to worry about. I could have it come through the window, I guess. The window would be okay. Yeah, I could, I suppose.
Yeah, or like a modular one that you.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm just thinking, because you've seen yourself how narrow the door is.
Yeah.
How narrow the hallway is.
Isn't it?
It's quite narrow here. Would they be able to get a sofa up through that window? I don't know. Maybe not.
I'm going to go with no without taking the window out, probably.
It might be better off to, instead of going to DFS, because you'll have to educate me here. I don't know if you know yourself. Do DFS just give you the whole sofa, or do they give it to you in parts where you can pull it together yourself?
I was going to skip through here.
That's where you just pull it together, because they're already made. So the disadvantageous situation to get in a sofa, comfy, you know, my best bet, and I appreciate it.
How far is it?
Yeah, you can probably tell it's not the most comfiest of sofas. We read that. But even this was a you know, blah, blah, blah. So, but it's only half done. I still need to put Austin's bed together, get the sofa in.
You did tell me, didn't you, last week? You were
And
saying
get
to
a skip
me,
for the rubbish, you know.
that you were sorry for interrupting.
I did. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I just want, you know, like, to follow on what you said, it's very unfair to be judged until my place is set up, man, and whatever, so.
And I suppose I might suggest some parenting support. Like he's a 4-year-old, going to be 5-year-old who hasn't, as far as I'm aware, like hasn't lived with you in the last couple of years.
No.
So I would suggest to parents, if that was the case, that some parenting support to help you from the beginning get things off to the right, you know, get you as skilled up as possible.
But how do you know that I'm not skilled already? How do you know? You don't know.
No, I don't know.
You don't know either.
I don't know.
I could be very skilled.
Yeah.
For all you know.
Yeah. But that's support that we would suggest to people. Obviously, you don't have to accept that support. But it's, you know, Ealing has an entire parenting service that offers different parenting courses for parents in Ealing for those exact purposes.
Again, I feel that it's very unfair to put that forth to me until I even have a chance to see how I am as a father. And that comes with Austin visiting and living here, as in slowly, and spending nights here after he's visited the house a few times. Point in implication being it's going to be a long, drawn-out process. And I feel that it's very unfair for me to be judged and put suggestions pertaining towards parenting courses until I myself have had an opportunity to prove to myself how I can be with Austin and so forth. I also feel, and I also feel heavily and think, you know, in my mind that it doesn't matter what you're pulling for if you can't be practiced with your own child. None of the bullshit experts and blah blah blah. It's loads of it's not everything, but most of it's crap. You know, you can't beat your own experiences with your own child. So in my mind, I'm going to respectfully refuse that until I myself have assessed myself. You can assess me as much as you like. I really don't give a shit, right? All that matters to me is how much I assess myself, and then I will get back to you, and I'll tell you if I feel like I need help in this or that area. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay?
I mean, that's perfect.
And I think that's perfectly fair.
Yeah, of course. That's fine. We don't, you know,
Respectfully.
We don't know how you will be as a parent.
You have no idea.
No. We don't know. And, you know, we would want parents to take advantage of the resources that are in the community.
Okay.
You know, I would say that my experience with parenting courses is that parents do learn things from them, and they can be helpful. Sometimes they're not, and they're not you don't go and then suddenly you're a
I would argue that all of that is absolute rubbish about practice. You can't be practice with your own son, your own flesh and bloods.
Yeah, of course. Like any learning, you have to be applying it as well, don't you? And it is different. But I do think people benefit from.
I've already read a ton of books already about children and about toddlers step by step and so forth. You know, so I think solely I've done quite a good job overall. You know, I'm not perfect as in how I'm supposed to be and behave. You know, and I call bullshit on that. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to give you a textbook example. So there's many parents that are golden handcuffs. They're golden handcuffs, worrying about other people's opinions more so than their scenario where they're at, or their scenario. They could be at a restaurant, for example, and their toddler, as an example, is acting a certain way, and his parents are golden handcuffs. They'll be like, I can't do that, I can't behave this way because I'm going to be judged. And you're the biggest prisoner inside your heads. When you are worried constantly about other people judging you, you're going to stay right there. You're going to be like a jail cell, you know. And you're a golden handcuff, man. And a lot of parents, rather than enjoying that moment with their child, and I act like a kid sometimes myself. I don't give a fuck, and I'll act like a kid in a restaurant, and I'll do stupid things just for that bondage moment, just for that moment of subconscious in my child's mind, subconscious closeness, that we had that experience, rather than caring about other people's shitty, stupid opinions. But there's many people that are golden handcuffed, and they miss out. They miss out, in my opinion. You know, so I'm just saying, you know. But anyway, I've read a lot of like self-help books on how to be a better father. I truly have. You know, I've taken under my own initiative. I don't need people judging me. I've been judged for a very long time, and I know myself. I'm getting out of that worry about people judging me. As in, you know, I'm still scared. That's why I video now, so people can't lie. You can't lie to spin your own narrative. You know, everything's on video and documented, which is what I do now. But so I scared in that sense. That's why I video. But I'm not scared, and nor do I care about other people's judgments, because no one's me, and no one can say this, that. So my confidence from not caring has just skyrocketed, because I know my weaknesses, I know my strengths, I pay attention to my weaknesses, I acknowledge them. But unlike a lot of people who just worry about all their weaknesses, I focus on I put that energy that a lot of people are focused on the weakness. I put that energy into my strengths, and I go from good to great to phenomenal, because it's not wasted energy. Yeah, like for example, I will say to you that I'm terrible at DIY, fixing things, and I accept that.
I need to change.
It bothered me for a while. I couldn't fix things, but I just get a handyman to do it, so that's fine. But
1% battery.
I'm a man, I'm supposed to do this. But sometimes we're all hopelessly incapable at something.
1% battery.
So instead of wasted energy, I just focus on what my strengths are, and I've got a lot of strengths too, believe me. And this is how I'm so good at, you know, reading people, body language, feeling energies, for example. I've done a lot of practice there, and I'm able to do it very well, if I say so myself, you know, perhaps too well. But, you know, my point is that, you know, I'm self-taught. I also feel that I don't need outside influences, only the mediation for now. Again, until I have us to stay over. And again, that's going to be for the record, for the video, for my solicitor's information. That's going to be a long drawn-out process. Because, again, going back to what I said, my son has to be ready. I gave you the 3 examples. His age, he lost his mum, and his aunt looked after him, blah, blah, blah. Right, yeah. So anyway, you know, it's going to probably be quite a while. You know, I might get back to you should I feel I need it, but that's going to take quite some time. I'll be honest with you, because right now I just want to be left alone. I'll deal with you for the mediation, but apart from that, I just want to be left alone, and I want to go with us to my own way. Okay, that's what I want.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else before we go? Then, do you have any questions at all?
Should I have any questions?
If you No, you don't have to have any. You can ask them if you want to. If you don't have any, don't feel like you need to ask something that you don't want to.
I feel that it's pointless asking questions because even questions that I might want answered, you'll shield it or you'll politically say it or in a way where if you don't want to answer, it's going to be shielded. So I don't have any questions, though, respectfully. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I would try not to shield it or answer
Like the narrative, you know.
But yeah, that's fine. All right, so we'll follow through with those things that we talked about.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to you.
I appreciate that.
All right.
That's fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your time.
Thank you for your time. Okay, take care. Alright, I'll just wait until you go and I'll stop the video.
Can I look at your wedding photos? Is that all right?
Yeah, of course you can. That's fine.
How old is Austin in this one, in this picture?
He's 4.
Looks like a lovely venue.
It is. Oh, yeah, it's a lovely venue. Very nice, you know.
All right, thank you very
Alright
much.
guys,
for
you
your
take
time.
care.
Appreciate it.
Alright, thanks for your time.
I'll be in touch soon. You've got my number anyway if you want to text me.
Sure, we'll go through the mediation. I won't be left alone besides that until Austin stays over.
When I've got an update, I'll get into contact with you.
But I just for the record, I won't be seeing you again, only for the mediation, okay? As I'm saying in front of for the records, I'm only going to see you for the mediation. Other than that, I don't want nothing to do with you until I've had a chance when Austin stays over, and that's going to take time when he's ready. That's what I'm saying, okay? All right?
So there will be things that we will want to be in contact with you for.
Such as?
For example, when the assessment is finished, for example, sharing it with you. For example, if the school come back and say, yeah, we could do some counselling support for Austin,
Okay.
we would come back to you about
Well, you can phone me, but in terms of a visit, I don't want to see you.
Okay, then that's as I said, we can't force you
No, you can't.
to see us. We might offer you one, but of course it's your prerogative.
Absolutely it is.
To turn it down if that's what you want to do.
Well, I feel again, just for the records, in closing, it's not very fair for people to say this and this until Austin's dad has had a chance to look after his son by himself. In my eyes, that's wrong what you're offering until I've had that chance. So I'll get back to you surrounding that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a
All right, enjoy your time. Right. Thank you. Bye-bye. I'll just video until you go.
Okay.
All right, bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, if you made it all the way until the end of that video, an hour and 42 minutes, first of all, God bless you. Sorry, first of all, God bless you. Second of all, this is a pivotal point behind showcasing the trajectory of the journey, where it started, at least by the London local authorities. This was the first time they'd been to see me. I was dealing with them, as you heard in the meeting, for 4.5 years prior, by the Surrey local authorities. The reason for this is because of my past and my neurodiversity. You know, these days everyone's got a mental health problem. Everyone's set up ever since COVID. You know, and it's understood now. It wasn't back in the day. So you're deemed as a threat. And yeah, subsequently I was living with many problems. Schizophrenia, borderline personality disorders, heroin addicts, you name it. Just to name a few. Many more issues. And it meant that I've got a long list of outbursts. What I felt was, you know, obviously it's wrong in the sense of me being angry and getting into fights and hurting people, but at the same time, when you live with madness and the psychological warfare, I challenge anybody to do that. And if you feel you don't belong there, to not go a bit crazy yourself when you live with insanity, because I did. I'm one of the very few who can say I lived it and not just survived, but it's thriving now with a 3-bedroom house, got my own business, and I've got my beautiful son. And I'm on the verge towards getting him back. It's going to be a while, but the momentum's shifting. Truth bombs are being showcased and put into fruition. It can't be ignored. The judge is on my side, even although family court yesterday, they're saying it's adjourned until March due to the incompetencies of the local authority. The judge was heavily critical of them and is getting really fed up. And the tide is shifting. I can feel it. It's going to be a while, but they're going to do everything they possibly can to make me break. Because I've noticed they haven't responded. I was quite emotional yesterday. I'm like, well, I'm running out of patience. When can I see my boy again? Nobody's picked up the phone. Nobody's emailed me back. So it's just a game of chess, and it's okay. I know that in the end things are going to be fine. The truth's coming out. It took a lot of guts for me to be vulnerable like this. I had a lot of fans before I done my parental and alienation series, a lot, and they left because of my situation. But by thinking long term and showcasing the truth, not hiding who I am. In this Facebook world, man, everyone just posts the good stuff, right? Everyone posts about all their best parts and bits and pieces, and they want individuals to see the best parts. But what about the bad? What about the ugly? What about showcasing to the world? Judge it, man. Judge it. I'm going to show you what's possible in me and my son's comeback story. And that's what I love about me. I'm authentic on here. I'm not fake. With all this said, if you made it to the end of this video, much love, much respect. For context, those social workers, this was, I want to say 2 years ago now, when my boy was 4.5, or a year and a half ago, I should say. So it was quite some time ago, and since then I had a lot of, time with him in the community, and I looked after him. It's when I looked after him for a long time. My mother-in-law didn't like it, and used my past and my neurodiversity against me. But the truth's coming out. I've gone through a lot of horrendous accusations, and I can't say too much until we're out of proceedings. But once we are, I promise everybody, you're going to be amazed at how I survived it. And it's like Dean Graziosi says. Dean Graziosi, he works for Tony Robbins, right? And Dean Graziosi is the guy with the black hair and wears glasses. And he goes, what if your life is happening for you and not to you? Case in point, my background, it gave me the tools to handle where I am right now. And that's the bittersweet consensus behind it, Anyway, there's a lot more to come with insights and truth. So thank you for listening if you made it this far. And I hope I just reached one person. If I've reached just one person, I've touched someone's heart, I've done my job. But if I can reach any more, if you feel it's valuable, what I've put forth, exposing the authority, share it, man. Share it. Try and help someone out who needs it, Thank you. Much love, much respect. And I'll be in touch soon, everybody. Bye.